Well, hello there, Virgo. How are you? It's always so good to see you. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So, today we are going to do your end of October reading. So, let's jump into it. Let's see what is on the horizon. Outer Spirit, you are never alone, and solitude. Okay, you feel alone. This is your hermit energy. You're kind of like spending time perhaps by yourself, but understanding that you're never alone in the fact that your spirit guides, your angels are always with you, that your past loved ones, right? And also the energy of understanding that when you allow yourself to open up to others, that there is always love around. So this can even come from strangers, okay? I remember one day I got this card and I was kind of like in one of those spots where it was like I felt lonely that day. And then I went, I had to run some errands. I was running errands and I had so many people that just kind of crossed my path that day that, stopped for a minute and chatted, just strangers in the store. I even had, I went to the big box store and I had bought some mulch and everything from my backyard, and I had a couple of gentlemen that just loaded it in the car for me. I mean, they were customers. They saw me trying to put it in my car, and they just, oh, we'll help you, and they just threw it in the car for me, right? Allowing yourself to recognize that when we allow ourselves to see love around us, that we also attract in more love, right? And it can be the love from strangers. It can be the love from, a bird. It's so funny and it is about allowing yourself to find joy, moments of joy in your life. Making sure that you're really allowing yourself to connect to your inner child, right? Asking your inner child every single day, how can I make you happy, right? And doing something that is playful. Otters are very playful. Trying to do something that is very playful with yourself or with the people that are in your life. Like allowing yourself to recognize that if we're serious all the time, right, that doesn't make life very fun. It doesn't make our connections very fun, right? You could have people like that in your life right now. Yeah, I feel like you're trying to bring something into balance. I am going to say it looks like it could be a relationship or just wanting to have a relationship in your life, like a true deep friend or a new romantic connection, right? Trying to bring a deeper sense of connection in your life. Yeah. Having the strength and courage to do this. Okay, now you are here, King of Pentacles, okay? Maybe focusing on your financial sector, okay? Could be dealing with a Libra, don't have to be. Could be dealing with a boss, could be dealing with your own finances, could be dealing with a father. There's an energy of wanting to bring balance into your life. This is also divine masculine energy. This is very much divine feminine energy, allowing yourself to find that balance within yourself. We all have divine masculine, divine feminine. There's something here that maybe isn't quite in balance. It goes back and forth. Okay, so this could be a person in your life where one day it's on, the next day it's off, right? It's hot and cold. Maybe you're feeling hot and cold about this person or this situation. Something that I feel like you put time and energy into could be your work with 10 of Pentacles, could also be family, okay? It could be the energy of family. Could be with a Libra or a Cancer, okay? Because we have the Cancerian energy, wanting to find this balance or wanting to kind of a little bit here, make a decision. You're kind of on the fence. Is this person in my life or are they not? Like allowing yourself to recognize, yeah, you have the fates here. You have something destined on your path. Allowing yourself to really recognize. I feel like this is all pentacles. Look, we have all this pentacle energy, okay? So it's kind of like that's a grounded energy that's also kind of like linked to your financial sector, your sense of worth, your worthiness, right? It can also be linked to your health. You could be have put so much time and energy into that what you're recognizing is, well, I don't have a dear friend in my life, or I don't have a romantic connection. Yeah, your heart is broken. A heart is broken. The King of Pentacles is coming out again. Wow. Okay, so we have some divine masculine here, where you're recognizing, okay, King of Pentacles coming out twice. Father energy, it can be spouse energy, it can be institutions, corporations, okay? It can be an employer. You're just kind of like heartbroken. A very difficult energy that you're dealing with right now. This could be somebody that was, okay, or is very wealthy, very financially well off, but isn't very much in tune with their emotions, or you feel like you don't have like a repertoire. You feel like even when you're with them, you feel alone. You know, that there's nothing lonelier than being with somebody and feeling like you're invisible, right? And that is a little bit of this energy that you have going on here, is that there's a lack of an emotional connection. It could be a connection that has a lot of financial stability. It could be a connection that has a lot of sense of stability, responsible, reliable, right? All of that is there. You could be that person. Okay, you could also be the King of Pentacles, and the fact that you have created financial stability for yourself, right? You've been working hard in your career sector or building up your sense of financial stability. But all of a sudden you're recognizing, I don't have any relationships. So it's kind of like allowing yourself to say, okay, I have to walk away from something here. The Eight of Cups is that energy. I'm not, you're seeing a different point of view here. You're kind of like, I don't have a balance in my life. There's something here about allowing yourself to bring your sense of balance in your life. It's work and play. It's not all work and it's not all play. It's work and play, right? It's divine masculine and feminine. It's the energy of give and take. You could feel like you have to give a lot to this situation, whether it's your career or a relationship, but you're not feeling fulfilled. Even if it's a job that you're making a lot of money at, you could feel like you're not having a sense of purpose. You're not feeling fulfilled. Okay, sure, I got a lot of money in my bank account, but at the end of the day, right, I feel emotionally drained, or I don't have the time to have relationships in my life. So I feel like you're kind of coming to terms with this, because the thing is that what you're understanding is that you have to let go of the emotions that are keeping you in a situation or a relationship that just really and truly isn't giving you what it is that you need, right? It's allowing yourself to say, why am I staying here? What is it that I am wanting? Eight of Cups means I want more out of my life, or I want more out of a relationship. I want more out of a job. I want a sense of fulfillment. I want a sense of acknowledgement. I want a sense of connection. Whatever it is that you're looking for, but it's kind of like you have to allow yourself to let go of the emotions, the disappointment, because this is really hard. You have the Three of Swords, Five of Swords, and Five of Wands. You're staying stuck in that energy because you're concentrating on what this job, this person isn't able to give you. So you're kind of like staying stuck in that energy, right? You're focusing on what you're not getting instead of saying, okay, well, what do I have? You're focusing on the three flowers in the water that have, are no longer good, instead of looking at the two flowers here that are still worthy of saving. Allowing yourself to recognize it's time to come to peace with all of this. Asking yourself, this is why the solitude card is here. In silence, peace prevails. Asking yourself, what have you learned about yourself in this situation? What perhaps healthy boundaries do you need to create as you move forward? What has this person, I feel like this person that you're kind of dealing with, or this situation, asking yourself, it's kind of like a mirror to yourself. What is upsetting you about that person or that situation? And then asking yourself, how am I allowing myself to give that to myself? So for instance, right, if you're upset because this person can't meet your emotional needs, like, okay, they're paying me a lot of money, or they're providing a lot of financial stability, or they have financial stability, right? Maybe they have financial stability and you don't. Right? Why aren't they giving me more? Right? But it's kind of like allowing yourself to recognize what is annoying me about this person or this situation, and then asking yourself, how's that playing out in my life? Because when we have this kind of energy, it means that there's something we are meant to take a look at in ourselves. What annoys you about this person, how is that maybe playing out in another person or situation in your life? So if you feel like you're not getting enough emotional connection from this person, is there somebody else in your life, right, that wants to have an emotional connection with you, but you're kind of like being the same as this other person, and you're kind of like standoffish? Like allowing yourself to say, who and what doesn't really work in my life, but what is the part that I've played in it? That's where we come to this sense of peace. Like letting other people be who they need to be, right? Let them be who they are. But then also allowing yourself to recognize, well, I also have the choice to walk away. 8 of Cups. I lost my 8 of Cups. I can stay in this situation, or I can allow myself to move forward. And I feel like that's where you're coming to. You're kind of going back and forth about it. But I feel like before you walk out the door, okay, it's about allowing yourself to come to terms with how this person is the mirror to you, about how I just feel like there's something about somebody is, yeah, you have the Magician here. And then you have the Devil. It's you're attached to an idea of what love is supposed to be, or friendship is supposed to be. You're kind of attached to some expectation of how somebody is supposed to show up in your life. Asking yourself, I think for some of you, it is your inner child that is wanting this from you. And you're kind of like, but I'm not giving it to my inner child until I get it from this person. And just understanding that you're holding back on your own sense of love for yourself. That whatever this person or situation, right, has kind of like what is painful for you with this person. I feel like as a person, what is painful for you with this person. Say it's your father, and you're kind of like, this person, he all he cared about was his money. He didn't care about me, right? He never had time for me, right? All he had was time for his money. Then understanding, how are you doing that to your own inner child? It's the lesson here is that what your father, in this case, if or whoever, what they didn't give to you, it's about allowing yourself to give it to yourself. So if your father didn't have time for you, and they only worked on their work or whatever, they didn't have time for you, are you giving your own inner child time? Are you giving your own inner child, okay, your undivided attention? Are you allowing yourself to play with your own inner child? I've really been working on this. This is so interesting. I have Virgo North Node, right? So it's kind of like, I feel like this is part of that Virgo, and for the collective, Virgo is in the South Node right now. So it's really playing out for you here. It's about to transit. So it's really playing out for you about what are your expectations on love, and then are you, what you are projecting or what you are thinking you're not getting from other people, are you allowing yourself to give that to yourself, to your own inner child, right? I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and I've really been thinking about, like, how do I talk to my 2-year-old granddaughter? Well, I love her to death, right? So it's full of love and hugs and reading books and chasing butterflies and all of that stuff, right? And it's kind of like understanding, right? I would never like talk negatively to my granddaughter. I would never like get upset with her because she, spilled milk or whatever. Asking yourself, are you talking to yourself like you would want to talk to your 2-year-old child or your 2-year-old granddaughter or grandson, right? Allowing yourself to say, am I repeating what I've learned from this person? Am I doing that same thing to myself? Am I doing that same thing to other people in my life? Like, it's almost like I feel like this is an ancestral wound and saying, okay, the buck stops here. I'm going to look at how this person has made me feel. I'm going to look at that. I'm not judging them, right? It's not about judging them or pointing fingers because everybody has their own path. But it's a mirror to you. How do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want to show up for the people you care about in your life? Yeah, because I feel like you're understanding. We have the devil here too, right? You're kind of, I feel like, there's something here. Once again, Libra energy coming out, but it's kind of like a little bit of understanding the difference between manipulating people. This person could be very manipulative, manipulating people into love, toxic energy, codependency, that on and off. You could have had somebody, this person could have been very hot and cold, right? One day all happy, loving to see you. The next day, cold shoulder. And allowing yourself to recognize, okay, I want to be consistent in showing up for myself. I'm literally with the Page of Wands here, you are going back and you are learning how to re-mother yourself or re-father yourself, right? Allowing yourself to say, yes, I didn't get that modeled to me perhaps as a child, but that's okay. I'm going to allow myself to start learning. Page of Wands, I'm learning something new here. Because when you do that, it's kind of like you're getting this strength and confidence to step into, this is the King of Cups. Like you're stepping more into your most loving self. I feel like for some of you, you may feel like, well, I'm not very loving right now, but that's because I'm not receiving love. It's kind of like, okay, you can love yourself. This is about learning how to have the courage to love yourself and to allow yourself to have relationships with people in a loving way, right? It's not the, that hot and cold, right? It's kind of like, oh my goodness. Could be, you've had a trauma bond with this person. That they could be very manipulative. This is very manipulative energy. But asking yourself, am I repeating that pattern? I think that's the thing, especially if this is like somebody that's in your family. Okay, am I repeating this pattern? Allowing yourself to be honest with yourself, right? What is the truth? Are you repeating the pattern? And if you are, it really just starts by becoming aware of it and then allowing yourself to give to yourself what this person or situation wasn't able to give to you. It's not about pointing fingers or judging. It's about allowing yourself to step back into your power, having the strength to step into your power and saying, even though this person, this situation hurt me to the core, I have the courage and strength to still love. In other words, I'm not going to allow this person to close my heart for good. I'm going to allow myself to begin with myself. I'm going to learn how to love myself again, right? And then to consistently show up in a loving way to the people that I care about the most. I'm not going to be hot and cold, right? It's kind of like, okay, how did this person, what was so painful about what this person did? And then allowing yourself to say, okay, am I doing that to myself? I'll have to admit, Virgo, when I did that for myself, I was like, yeah, I'm not showing up for my own inner child, my own 2-year-old self, right? and when we just become aware of it and then we start practicing it, I feel like you're having to practice it because it wasn't modeled to you as a child. So that's okay. We're learning, right? Allowing yourself to say, okay, I'm back being a student and I'm going to allow myself to practice loving myself, loving the people in my life, and being consistent with it. I think there's something about consistency. Yeah, I just feel like you are. Look, you're going... It's just beautiful. It just keeps coming, right? Let's see. You have the Sun, the Judgment, the Ace of Swords, and the Star. 3 major arcana right there. Like the 3 happiest cards in the deck. Plus the Ace of Swords, you're seeing the truth. The truth is you're seeing clearly, like the sun is coming out, right? You're seeing clearly, okay, that what has been painful to you in the past is maybe something that you're putting out yourself or to yourself. You're repeating a pattern because we have unfinished symphony. So you're repeating some type of pattern, probably something that you've been conditioned to believe or a way of being that was modeled to you. It's kind of like, okay, I think you're focusing on how much pain that they gave you, but in the meantime, it's like, just switch it. Just give yourself what it is that your heart truly desires. Because when you do, you have the Page of Pentacles. You really are. Page of Pentacles, Page of Wands. You're learning something new. You're learning how to transform the way that you show up. You're showing up in a very loving way. Because with the Strength card, we have the girl there and she's cuddling with a lion that could just eat her up. 2 bites, right? You're allowing yourself to recognize that there are 2 parts of yourself, perhaps, right? There is the loving side and then there's the roaring side. Allowing yourself to say, okay, I can choose how I show up. I don't have to, show up in the same way that this person used to show up. I can show up consistently with flowers for myself or for the people, and it doesn't have to be flowers, but you're showing your love and your affection for the people in your life. This is like, stepping into, you're being called to start living life in a new way. And you have the Death card. Time to put something down. Time to allow yourself to say, I'm no longer going to choose to live my life that way. I'm going to instead step into this energy of being very loving to myself, very loving to the people around me. And if there's a reason, like I cannot, that person is just too toxic, then that's fine. That's when you walk out the door and shut the door and you don't allow yourself to go back in. It's kind of like allowing yourself to draw a line in the sand. Who am I willing to share my energy with? And when I share my energy, I'm showing up in my most loving self. And if it's somebody I cannot be my most loving self with on a consistent basis, then I am allowing myself to walk out the door and shut the door. Right? Because we're at the end of a 9-year, Virgo. So it is time to make these decisions. Who's going with you in 2026? 2025 is a 9-year. It's also the end of a 9-year cycle. So we're starting a new 9-year cycle, January 1st, 2026. So we have about 2.5 months to decide who's going forward with me. I think this is a good time for you to allow yourself to look at that, and also how you're showing up for yourself, right? Yeah, let's pull the soul truth card for you for some final advice. And I do personal readings, so if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. Yeah, what am I grateful for right now? I feel like it's about allowing yourself to take a look at this situation or a family situation, whatever this is, okay? That's, I feel like, really breaking your heart, and allowing yourself to say, am I just focusing on the negative, okay? And allowing yourself some time to sit with what is the positive in this or these relationships, and allowing yourself to then determine, okay, am I willing to show up with these people in a loving way or not? And if I'm not, then it's time to close the door and allow yourself to move forward and to attract in new people. It's time to allow yourself to choose. Are you in or out, right? And you could have learned this as a child. You could have had somebody in your life that was in and out, or just not consistently showing up for you. That's okay. You're going to learn how to consistently show up for yourself and show up for the people that are in your life. And when you allow yourself to do that in this most loving of ways, right? And I think it does. I think it takes a lot of strength and courage to do it, because part of you is hurt, but it's kind of like allowing yourself to say, I'm moving forward so I can do the deep healing if you need to, right? I'm like, okay, the first thing that we have to do is walk out the door and allow ourselves to move forward. Yes. It says, adopt an abundance mindset. Gratitude is the antidote to all of our problems. It is impossible to be fearful and grateful at the same time. Gratitude improves our health, opens our heart, and changes our state. Yes. So even if you're deciding to walk out the door, it's about being grateful for what these people or this person has brought into your life. Allowing yourself to sit there, right? And I feel like because the Virgo is in the South Node right now for the collective, the shadow elements of Virgo are really showing up, and just allowing yourself to sit with that, right? Do you have super high expectations of these people, or are you wanting them to be perfect, or are you being critical of yourself because you feel like you're not perfect enough? Right? Allowing yourself to say, wow, okay, this is what you're being asked by the universe to take a look at. There's no judgments here, right? You could have grown up in an energy of high judgments, right? A lot of judgmentalism in your family or whatever. It's allowing yourself to say, I'm no longer judging. I'm just determining I'm being more cognizant of who is getting my time, my energy, my love. And those people that are getting it consistently. And those that aren't, then I'm allowing myself to distance myself and move on, go in a new direction. Yeah, really powerful energy here. I'm sending you a lot of love and hugs. Be kind and gentle with yourself as you're going through this, right? Sometimes this is a little bit of shadow work, right? Inner child work. And, if you feel like you need to work with a counselor or a therapist, talk to a good friend or something, allowing yourself to kind of like decide what you're doing in this situation, but doing it from a loving perspective for yourself, not out of revenge or out of anger or anything like that. It's kind of like, what do I want for myself as I move forward? And then allowing yourself to show up for that in a consistent manner. All right, Virgo, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate all your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Much love and light. Bye for now.